Well, it's a very good evening to everyone out there. Look, thank you very much for your patience, ladies and gentlemen. We had a bit of a layoff. There was one of our members had some family issues that we had to attend to, and so we decided to take a break. We didn't stop watching Niners football, of course, but sometimes these things happen. But it's a big welcome back to Rod, to Jono, to Scott. My name's Pete. All Niners fans down here in Sydney, Australia. We all watched the game today, and we beat the New Orleans Saints 13-0 at home in what has been described as an ugly win. Boys, just some quick opening remarks. I'll start with you, Rod.
I didn't mind that it was an ugly win. I think at this time of year, we need to be winning those types of games. I think I mentioned on the chat today that we lost those types of games early in the year when we lost to the Bears and we lost to the Broncos. So to see us win like that, backing up the win we had last week, I don't have a problem with that whatsoever.
Beautiful. Jono, are you there, mate? Can you hear me, Jono?
I think I am. I don't know what's going on here. I can.
Do you want to? Okay, just keep going, mate. Just keep going. We'll put up with it. Opening remarks.
For me?
Can you hear us, Jono? Yeah, opening remarks, mate. After Rod.
Yeah, no, like I know you've got there that it was an ugly win, but I think like the 49ers are putting together a pretty remarkable defense. I've sort of been going through Twitter and just seeing that I think it was the first time in 20 years that the Saints have been held to 0. It's pretty hard to keep an NFL team to 0. So,
who was the last team to hold them to 0?
Gone from 3-5 to 7-5. I'll take it. 49ers.
Yep,
correct.
2001.
So the fact that we've gone from 3-5 to 7-5. I'm happy. I'll keep rolling.
Yeah, there's still a few problems with your internet, Jono, mate. What I'm thinking you could do. What is tethered to your phone? Have you tried doing that?
I think Mrs. Rosconi needs to pedal harder.
Yeah.
Try again. Give me a moment,
mate. What I would do, mate. See if you can tether from your mobile phone. That'll probably be better. Anyway, so we'll get him back. So look, guys. I've got an ugly win there, and I think it was ugly from the perspective of, we were rusty, and we were rusty for a reason. Short turnaround, went to Mexico, didn't do any real reps until Friday. An altitude that was very hard to play in, and the Saints have a really good D, no question about it.
Yep.
They were stopping us. They stopped the run. Christian McCaffrey was 3.5 yards per carry.
Yeah.
And again, Elijah Mitchell, who is bloody injured again, was above 5. Jordan Mason came on at the end of the day, which was which I thought was really good. Given it was a bit of garbage time, but I think he can step right up into Mitchell's position. He's a good runner, and he's a good running back of our style. He's a big boy. He's a bigger boy than Mitchell. And so, although, it was an ugly win, I think there was some reasons why it was ugly, and it just came down to, when you can win ugly, you're a good football team, and we've got to win games like this.
Yep.
Can I make a couple of comments there?
Yeah, absolutely, please.
Yeah, I think it was an ugly win. It was a grinding win, and I said this, and I put it on the post on a little chat earlier. Jono's on his way back. Hopefully, Jono is there. Hey, Jono. They have a great defense. You have a look at the names they've got there. And when some of them are in doubt, I was like, oh, geez, I hope they don't play. And I think they were missing one. Was it Lattimore? Did Lattimore play, or was he?
Lattimore played.
He was.
Oh, did he?
Yeah, there was one of the three that was out. But when you've got Jordan, you've got Lattimore, you've got Tyrion Matthew, like they're a really good defensive team, and they're physical. And they gave us a bit of a bashing today. And I think even, Jimmy copped a few shots today, poor bugger. And I don't think it was much. I can't really say it was all McGlinchey's fault, but he copped a few shots today. And I think they are actually a really underrated defense. And clearly their attack wasn't much chop. But Taysom Hill, you got some players there that can actually score. And I'm a real fan of Olave. I think he's coming along well as a was it first round pick, I think, this year. As a rookie, I think he's a gun wide receiver. And you look what we did to Alvin Kamara. Like, we absolutely flogged him, gave him 2 fumbles, and that's absolutely rare as for him. He's normally safe as houses. So I thought, ugly win. I would use that term. I think it was ugly, but I think that's just that sort of game that we need to grind out and just get the W, which we did.
Jono, do you want to tell us your thoughts on if it was an ugly win, why it was an ugly win? Was it?
Yeah, but I think it's the type of game that we've been in the past earlier in the season that we've lost. So it was impressed to get the W, and I agree. Like, they came to play. Like, it was borderline dirty play today. Like, there was a number of late hits that were put on Jimmy and things going awry and things going a little bit wild. But you could see that the boys in the locker room at the press conference were pretty up and about. And it was good.
Well, mate, I think they were just happy to get home and get off that field with the dub, and that's what, and our defense. Let's move on to this. Let's move on to how good is our defense, because our defensive display today was, as we know, back in 2001, the last team to hold this team to pitching a shutout was the San Francisco 49ers. And as you can see, the velocity in which our players fly around the field and stop the defenders. Talanoa Hufanga missed a little, an important tackle, I think, on Alvin Kamara, but he still didn't make too many yards. But Gibson is playing well. Everyone's stepping up, and the fact that you held. I mean, and again, Andy Dalton's not the greatest QB in the world, but I mean, he can sling it, and he threw better passes than Jimmy today, I thought. But as a complementary offensive unit, they just didn't get the job done. So, but that was just our defense being not as well. Was it we pitched a shutout. It was near flawless, and
No, it wasn't.
Sack.
It wasn't.
No, it wasn't what?
Wasn't flawless. No way.
Yeah. Okay. But that's Bosa came out with that sack at exactly the right time. I'll go to you, Scotty, because you've got some thoughts.
Yeah, well, you mentioned the late hits on Jimmy. I think that we fell down to their level. We got drawn into that game as well. That rough game. I think the defense were brilliant. Don't get me wrong, but they gave away some penalties. I was just shaking my head, going, "Why have you done that?" There were just the Bosa one where he's just put a late shot on. You didn't need it. He could have easily pulled out of that one, but he went, no, they're hitting my quarterback. I'm going to do the same thing. So they made themselves probably stay out in the field longer. Look, but hey, they held them to 0. So I'm not going to say it was a polished and perfect performance by the defense, because I don't think it was. But I thought that they held their own. I thought Huff, he might have missed a tackle on Kamara, but he forced the turnover. And he's just that person, just keeps coming up with plays. And I was really impressed with them. I just think they need to cut out some of those silly penalties, which we could have beaten them. Probably again, could have beaten them by a bit more today if we hadn't given away some silly penalties at really rough times.
But it was except for Bosa, it was the usual suspects, Brendel and Kittle gave a holding away, which I don't think it was. That was a touch and go, but it was Brendel in 69, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
What do you think, Rod? What's our defense doing?
So I just pulled this up today. I posted this on my Insta story. Some of the boys might have seen it. John Chapman gave me a like. Thanks,
Johnny.
Johnny Chapman got a like from him. First in points per game, first in yards per game, first in rushing, first yards per game, yards per rush, first down, first down, and then pass TDs first. They're all the metrics that we are first in. So it's defensive ranks for 49ers D. It's pretty good.
Unbelievable. I did a little potty with John and Ted H a couple of Fridays ago. And he was an absolute gentleman and a scholar. Jono, what do you think, mate?
Yeah, have you got me?
I've got you, mate.
Have you got me? All right. Yeah, no, I think yeah, they're on task, on target at least to be a pretty historic defense. And I think Bosa was asked that question about whether they think that they're better than the 2019 team, and he just said, I think if you look at it, all the guys that are still here from the 2019 team, they're all better. So he said so he does think that they're on track to sort of be a better team defensively than they have, and they're still pushing narrative out there, and we'll probably get to this in a conversation point about the offense not scoring enough points and all that type of business. But you know what? When was the last time we scored 13 points?
Today.
Does anyone know the last time? The last time we put the Packers in the NFC division game. And what did we do?
It was against Packers.
Well,
it was against the Packers of the Frozen Tundra. So yeah,
mate, we got the defense. We got the defense to win it.
Yeah, we do.
I think, John, if we're comparing it to the 2019 side, I think this secondary is better. You seem to have, we've got a great front, we've got outstanding linebacking core, probably the best in the NFL. But our secondary are young and physical, and they fly around and they just make plays, and they make splash plays too. I mean, Huff's going to miss the odd tackle, but he's always going to be there or thereabouts wherever the ball is. And they talk about Womack, who just comes in occasionally, and he's very similar in that they're both ball hawks. So that I think that's why they're better than the 2019.
And how
you guys?
Go,
Jono.
And how good's Drake? Dre Greenlaw is just an animal.
He's a freak.
I was just saying, Dre Greenlaw is just an animal.
He is, mate. And it showed that we did miss him a lot last year, right? What were you going to say, Scotty?
I'm not a stats man, so I'm relying on you guys for this one. But what did we give away in yards for penalties today?
Oh, about 60 yards, I think.
Yeah, it's not too bad.
About 60. 60 to 75. I can pull up the game stats.
Better than the 100 we gave to the Bears.
Oh my God,
that was horrible.
I saw a stat where it was 4 for 40. You guys can. I mean, that's something that we can put in the comments a little bit later on. But extra points. Here we go. Safeties, time of possession, kickoffs, total first downs. Nah, that's not. I'm not getting to it. I don't want to waste anyone's time. But yeah. I think if the other team can't score any points, we're in a pretty good position, right? But the thing has been, which again, I've read on Twitter and around some other sporting, the Athletic, etc. you know, that we got a touchdown that was nearly an interception. But, you know, if Kittle runs the right route, which annoyed the shit out of me, Jimmy had the ball in the right place. Kittle just didn't run the right route. There's a TD. So, look, yeah, we beat the Packers up there in a very physical game on the Frozen with that, and we only scored 13 points to 10. The final score was. Look, we're scoring more points against divisional rivals and Carolina and weaker teams as we came up with up against a good defense. I'd like to know I can probably find out the New Orleans defense in terms of where they sit in the league.
They're definitely top 10.
Yeah, they've got to be top 10, right?
Yeah, it's a good question. I do think that the next month of football is going to tell us a lot. Like, I mean, I know we're sort of building a picture on where we are, but defensively, like, the Miami Dolphins are pretty darn explosive at the moment. So that's going to be a big test next week. And then you've got Tampa Bay, you've got the Seahawks, who you should get done, and then Washington, who are a pretty sort of sturdy team, and you know, in that mix for that sort of places in the playoffs. Like, it's a big next month to sort of define who we are and where we ourselves.
What's going to get? So we need a home ground. I think we need a home ground going into the first week, the wild card weekend. Do you think 10-7 is going to get us there?
If you win the division, 10-7 will get you there.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think beating the Seahawks gets us there. I can't see the Seahawks getting back. Like, we're already sort of game and a half in front of the Seahawks. We win that. They have to win one more game than us to go ahead of us, because we'll have the divisional tiebreaker over them.
That was great. That was great today.
It was delightful.
Phenomenal.
Absolutely delightful.
Thank you, Derek Carr.
Yeah.
You Bobby Dazzler.
Seeing Pete Carroll get beat. I'm a cousin Kyler Murray fan, but I was happy to see him get beat, and the Rams get beat. It was just couldn't have gone any better.
No, the Rams are gone. But boys, is Jimmy playing better? There's a bit, and the number one fan of Jimmy Garoppolo is David Lombardi. I don't know how Lombardi keeps his press. I mean, I don't mind the guy, but mate, he's so biased towards Jimmy. But the thing I think with Jimmy is that if you look at his stats from last year to this year, they're pretty much identical. I think it all comes down to him having more power in his legs. I think that's the only difference, is that he has more power in his legs because he wasn't able to work on his upper body throughout the summer. And he did a lot of work on his core and his lower half of his body. And you can see just how quick, and we've talked about it before, that he can generate torque. What do you guys think?
Well,
is Jimmy playing better?
Can I go first?
Yep.
Go, Rod.
There was, back to your point, Pete, about his core and his strength. He was that one where he got tangled up today and they had him in the clutches, and he somehow managed to get the top of his body out and do that little dump off pass to Elijah Mitchell. Was it Mitchell? I think it was.
And Jennings, one or the other.
Yeah. Is he playing better? I think he is. Statistically, he is. He hasn't thrown a pick. Thanks to the holding call today, he hasn't thrown a pick in 4 games. His 16 TDs to 4 pick this year means he's on par for single figures in terms of his interceptions, and I can't recall how long it's been since he's done that. I think the last 2 games, Kyle's had him playing a different style. He's relied more on his arm, particularly in the first half. You know me, I love running the ball, and I get so frustrated when they go away from the run. And even last week, I put on the chat, where's the run game? But we have been moving the ball successfully up and down the field. And last week, Kyle's game plan was to throw first, get a score, then establish the run in the second half. And I think he tried to do that today, but their defense was better. and we were pretty banged up in that second half because it was such a physical game. So we basically had to rely on Jimmy for the whole game. But I think I said to you last week on the chat, Scotty, you and I were talking about the fact that my heart goes in my mouth when he throws. I haven't felt that the last 2 weeks. I felt more comfortable with him throwing the ball basically since Christian McCaffrey's arrived. So that's my 2 cents.
So just quickly, guys, we ran it 29 times, threw it 37 times. That's
Today.
the opposite.
Mm.
That's the opposite of what we usually do. I think the run has to set up the pass, which I think we did better last week. But this week, as you said, Rod, the defense was better. Any further thoughts, Rod? I mean, Jono?
Oh, I think Jimmy's better because he's, for the first time in his career at the 49ers, he's got a genuine dump-off option. Like a genuine, the pressure's coming and he's got Christian McCaffrey that he can just throw underneath to, and it's just a comfortable check down option for him, which allows him to probably see and look at the field a little bit longer and a little bit more aggressively because he knows he's just got that option up his sleeve and he knows that he can get something like a quick dump off with Christian McCaffrey to get sort of 5-6 yards and you're ahead of the sticks already and you're ready to go. So I just think that element, and Rod sort of touched on that, the Christian McCaffrey arrival, has helped Jimmy Garoppolo immensely in terms of his passing game.
It's been a bit strange. So he had 4 receptions today from 6 attempts, 17 yards, 4.3 per reception, and then 11 attempts, 32 yards, 2.9 yards per carry. Not he's just the bell cow, right? And he's definitely not as explosive in the last 2 games as I thought he was going to be. What's going on there?
Better defense today, I think. I think he. I thought I like their defense. I really like the Saints' defense. I don't like their attack, but I just thought they manned up in the middle. I think that's why Kyle went away from it a bit. But then towards the end of the game, when Mason started coming in, I thought he looked good.
He looked phenomenal.
And that's what you need, If Eli's out for a couple of weeks or 4 weeks, whatever it is, if he's got a bit of an MCL complaint, then you want Mason to come in and hopefully TDP, is that right?
Yeah.
Davis Price,
yeah.
Yep.
TDP comes back soon, and we'll have more running backs at our disposal.
Yeah,
it is our game.
He can't. I think Kyle struggles to use all of these weapons. I think he's really sorry. I guess the better way to say that is Kyle is getting used to having all these weapons. But I think Jordan Mason's a better prospect than TDP. I think Jordan Mason, and correct me if I'm wrong, I don't know how many, if that was purely garbage time that, the front that they had on the field, I'd have to look, have to go back to the film and have a look at what personnel they had on the field while Jordan Mason was playing. But he ran through tackles. It's not like Mitchell and McCaffrey burst tackles. Mitchell runs through gaps. Mason just is a divo. Just get out of my way.
He runs through souls.
He's a Derrick Henry. He's a solid bugger.
Yeah, he is a Derrick Henry. He is.
He's a big boy.
Oh, he's huge. Well, have we got Jono? I'm going to ask you, mate. Injury update. Do we know what's happened?
Yeah, well, I mean, you mentioned the injury to Elijah Mitchell with the I think he's got an MCL injury, not in the same knee that he damaged the first time, so it's in the other knee. They don't believe it's as serious as the first time. So, I mean, I would early sort of suggest that he may miss, around that 2-3 weeks. They call I think what we call a cork, a contusion for Deebo Samuel in his quad. So he'll be fine. Spencer Dunn injury, which which it's as serious as you can get your answer. But he may miss some time. I know that Christian McCaffrey had a little bit of a knee niggle issue that he sort of came in and out of and playing, but it probably impacted his stats. What they were talking about, because he sort of was sort of out on the sideline mucking around, seeing if anything was going on more sinister than that. But I think like it was a tough game. It was a hard game. They probably got to make sure they rest up this week, ready for next week.
Did you, in that spiel, did you mention Spencer Burford?
Yeah. Sorry if I'm cutting in and out. Yeah, Spencer Burford with a lateral ankle injury.
Yeah, so not a high ankle sprain.
So I'd expect the same kind of thing.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. All right. So I'll open up the floor. I'll go last. Jump in, whoever. What needs? I'm not saying again, that we won against a good defensive team on a quick backup, which scares me against the Seahawks coming from Tampa Bay to go to the Seahawks in week 16. But anyway, what do we got to do to score more points?
I think we started today. I think that in saying what I mean by that is, and I mentioned this in my little notes I put earlier, we need people to step up. When there's injuries, which there will be, we need the people to step up. I thought McLeod came in a few times today and actually played okay at times. Juwan Jennings, I thought, played pretty well. I thought that's the first time they've really targeted him a bit. He missed a couple too, but he got some really good ones. Mason coming in towards the end, I think that was really good. And you pair that, and I've said it. I've said you get the ball to Kittle, Debo, and Ayuk, and if they all score, then you're going to win the game. That didn't happen this week, but we won anyway. So that and the fact that none of them scored, but we still got the win is great. The ball that got to Jennings for the touchdown, lucky, but you need that luck. So that's what it is. They could have easily scored a touchdown down the other end, but they deflected, and then someone tried to jump on it, missed it, and then we got it back. So you take your luck.
Jono?
I would say just our red zone efficiency. If we can improve our red zone efficiency, then we get down the field. We just need to make sure that we put some points on the board.
I think that's as simple as that. The one area, well, there's two things, and I'm with Rod on this. And I'm banging my head against a brick wall. The run set up the pass. The run has to set up the pass. Red zone efficiency has been an issue for probably the past 4 weeks. We need something. They've got to spend some time in practice on that. But it's set up the run, red zone efficiency. What do you reckon, Rod?
Back to what Jono said today, the red zone. Did you boys would have seen it? Did you see Christian McCaffrey wide open on the left and he went Jennings on the right? His first read was Jennings, and there was CMC giving it these ones with no one around him. Like that just would have been a walk-in tutty, and he missed that one. I think personally consistency. I think last week, and take Scott's point about this week we're playing against a better D, and in coming weeks the Bucks have got a very good D, so we're going to find out about it then. And Miami D isn't that great, but their offense is fantastic. But I think last week against the Cards, the way Kyle's game plan allowed to share the ball around, I think that paid dividends because all of our big name players got the ball in their hands, and the results spoke for themselves. It didn't happen today. We got the win, but today was a different type of game. And I just think we need to continue to stack wins and we need to be consistent, and we need to play like everybody says we are. That team that's everybody, like, I mean, if you have a look in all the national media, they're picking us versus the Bills, us versus the Chiefs, us versus anyone to play in the Super Bowl. We need to start playing like that team.
Just quickly, who's going to go to the States if we get to the Super Bowl?
Can't afford it.
I go to Chubbs.
I am there.
I'll probably be watching from Asquith Leagues Club or something like that.
Yeah.
Asquith Leagues Club, mate. That's where I had my mum's wake.
That's where I had my dad's wake.
We had it in the public,
Black
the
and white,
Irish. What was it called?
Oh, the Shamrock.
The Shamrock Inn, yeah.
Yeah, my dad was a director there, so
Oh, lovely.
he was the president there for many years. So.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Wow. Scotty, what about we haven't heard from your improvements, mate?
Well, I still thought a couple too many penalties today.
Yeah.
But defense was awesome. I think we just not so much improvements. Just if people are going to be hurt, then we need to have people stepping up to take their spots. And that's what it's about. It's about longevity. It's about having those players in the backup ready to go, which I think towards the end of the game today, we showed that we have a couple there ready to go. So does it mean we need to get them more minutes? I don't know. Does it mean we need to give some of our, McCaffrey's, Debo's less minutes? I don't know. It might be that. But next week's a big tester. I'm really looking forward to the Miami game. I don't know what I'm doing in terms of work, but hopefully I can watch it. We'll see.
Especially after what one of my favourite players, Raheem Mostert, had said in the media yesterday or today that he was forced back to play too early. We've got a great. Have you seen what he said? We've got a great team down here. We've got a QB that can actually sling it. So yeah, there's a bit of vitriol coming from some ex-49ers.
Good on him. Bring it on.
Yeah.
They're probably just jealous they won't get a ring.
God bless them. God bless them. So so next up we've got the Dolphins, right? And my contention is that a lot of the creativity of the 49ers offense went to the Dolphins in Mike McDaniel. It's right now with it. So we're looking at, the O-line is getting a little bit bashed up he's letting Jimmy, I think they allowed one sack today, which is still very good. But they have also Jimmy was getting a fair few sacks today. I mean, a fair few hits, but I think that was probably more due to the fact of some dirty play. I don't know whether you agree with that or not. But what's your level of confidence? Is it a game we will win? Is it a game that, we can't win? Do we have to be at our best? What are our thoughts on the Finns?
I personally don't think there are any games that we can't win, and I'll go in confident to every game we play. I think they're a very fast side, so we're going to have to find a way to game plan against their speed, and that'll be up to D'Amico Ryans. I think there'll be a bit of feeling there based on some of the comments. But one thing about Shanahan is when he coaches one of the saplings that have come off his coaching tree, he's always very good against them. So we're playing against a sapling this week, and watch this space.
Love it. Love it. Jono?
Yeah, I don't know if you would, but I think it's a massive grudge match. Like I do think there's going to be a heap of this one. So we'll I'm really looking forward to next week.
What about you, Scotty?
Confident. Corners need to be good. Tyreek Hill, some of their offensive weapons, Waddle, they need to really be on their game because those guys will blitz you in a second if you're not on your game. So defense needs to be perfect or close to it, and offense just needs to rumble along, do what they got to do to get down the field.
I think if D'Amico can design some of those not blitzes, but you know how he designs those things where Nick Bosa will come from outside in, and then from inside out. I think when he does that, which I think again opens up the lanes for Gibbons, Amenahu, because I think the more that we can pressure Tua Tagovailoa, the poly boy, the more jittery he will get based on the history that he's had this year. The more that we can put him on because if we sack him 3 times in the first half, it's going to be a very different game for Tua Tagovailoa.
Yep, that's right.
Yeah.
Pressure early.
Pressure early, massive pressure early. And if
Yep.
you also found, boys, that our first drive is really good. Last 3 or 4 weeks, it's stuttered, hasn't it? We've been getting better as the game goes on.
Yeah. And just back to your point, Pete, they lost one of their tackles today to a pec injury. One of their starting O-line, and a pec injury usually means out for a couple. So, so he'll be, I think his name's Armstead.
Yeah, it is. Yeah. Yeah, that's right.
So he won't be there. So they'll be
Teron,
yeah. So they'll be looking at their depth, which is always going to help us.
Yeah. Yeah. But look, it's going to be a phenomenal game. 8:25, I think, down here in Sydney. We said that, this would be an acid test. We said the Chargers would be a real good test of where we are. Both come through those with, not so much today in terms of our offense, but we still won the game. So let's say flying colors. And the Dolphins, again, is probably to date this year our biggest test. Don't you think? For sure.
Yep.
All right. We'll leave it there, boys. Thank you very much for your input. As I said, as we all know, the 49ers did beat the New Orleans Saints 19-0. We pitched a 13-0, I should say. The defense pitched a shutout. The last time that happened was in 2001 by the San Francisco. Was it 2001 or 1991? Sorry.
2001.
2001. Again, by the boys in red and gold, the San Francisco 49ers. Until next week, our best bets and in our preview shows, we will see you very soon. Go Niners.